to its big news from Supreme Court, where it has now reinstated Alok Verma, the CBI chief, who was sent forcefully on a leave. It's over to my colleague Sunetra Chaudhary for more.
Thanks, Snigdha. We are all looking at the repercussions of what's happening in Supreme Court, where they've said that Alok Verma should be back as CBI director just a month before he's set to retire. My colleague Sunil Prabhu has been tracking that story. Sunil, we saw your interview play out with Prashant Bhushan, who has been fighting for Alok Verma in this case. You've also pointed out how Alok Verma is back, but the court has put in a rider saying that he can't take any major decisions. Tell us what the court says. Has he been asked to respond to some of the allegations that were leveled against him, which the CVC was looking at?
Well, that now will be left to the high-powered committee to decide. They've been given 7 days from the day of this order for the Prime Minister and the Government of India to constitute and look into those allegations. So, Mr. Karge, the Chief Justice, Mr. Ranjan Gogoi, if he decides, or if he decides to send a representative, and the Prime Minister will have to sit and deliberate on this matter. What's interesting is, Sunetra, in this entire fight between number 1 and number 2, Mr. Rakesh Asthana has lost out completely. He remains a special director without charge. He still remains, as is called, a forced leave, and has been divested of all his charges. So only Mr. Alok Verma is back, as Mr. Prashant Bhushan pointed out. He's there. But to use the word, as he said, operation successful but patient crippled. So he can't take any policy decision. He can decide on routine matters. Routine matters could also mean, for example, the case which Mr. Prashant Bhushan, along with Mr. Arun Shourie, had put about the Rafale controversy, whether he can file an FIR or not. That will be considered as routine. But clearly, his fate hangs in the balance of this high-powered committee. But given the fact that the political considerations, it's not going to be unanimous, as is well apparent. There were a lot of doubts within the Congress party whether Mr. Karge should become a party in this entire decision and allowed the government to have been only the sole, allowed the fight to be between Mr. Alok Verma and the government. But I think today, Mr. Kapil Sibal, who appeared for Mr. Karge, has been able to convince and really make that changeover to ensure that Mr. Alok Verma, and it's not about Alok Verma, it's about the CBI director as a whole, that it is insulated from the Government of India, that only the high-powered committee that constituted him can effect any transfer or divest him of any charge. Even though it was absent in the law, they have now made it clear. It's the law of the land by a Supreme Court order, a 3-judge bench. The Chief Justice of India today staying away because he was not well apparently, but the other 2 judges reading out the judgment, which was a unanimous judgment, and while they are appreciative of the legislature of taking up and insulating and elevating the office of the CBI director by constituting a high-powered committee like the Prime Minister, CGI, and the leader of the single largest party, it's clear now that they have made clear directions to ensure that in future any kind of decision of this nature will have to be done by only this high-powered committee, and it will enjoy a fixed tenure. So clearly Mr. Alok Verma has been reinstated. It's a mixed verdict. It's not completely in his favor, but definitely they've looked at the institution as a whole to ensure that there is a primacy of tenure, at least for the CBI director, and that it does not become a cage parrot, and a clear indictment in a way, Sunetra, about the way the things had happened, the midnight swoop of intelligence bureaus, people coming into the CBI director's office with the help of the CISF and others getting into the CBI headquarters. Those are extremely unfortunate decisions, and clearly this will never be unfolded for some time, because this has never happened before, and it's quite an anticlimax for them.
And Sunil, do we know by reinstating the CBI Director Alok Verma, are they also vacating all the other decisions that were taken by the CVC and by the person installed by him, which is Nageshwar Rao, for instance, all the various transfers? In the entire team associated with Alok Verma was sent to various places, including Ajay Bassi, the investigating officer in the Rakesh Asthana case. He was sent off to Port Blair. Are all of those now vacated?
No, those are not vacated. It's only Nageshwar Rao's acting director has been vacated, because you can't have the director CBI appointed and have Nageshwar Rao as acting director. So that's been vacated. On the other points, they've been silenced, as well as on Mr. Rakesh Asthana, who has been also put on forced leave. But these are matters which we'll need further clarification once that judgment copy is given. So it's in that perspective that they will be able to get, because if you see the petition, it was only about Alok Verma versus the Union of India. The others became, they just heard them as part of the entire case, but refused to take a decision on that. That will have to be dealt by the CBI director at a later stage.
Sunil, thanks very much. Let me just go across now to my colleague Neeta Sharma, who joins us from the CBI headquarters. Neeta, Sunil talking a lot about giving us details how the court has completely indicted the government in the kind of takeover, the swoop, the midnight swoop that happened, where Nageshwar Rao was accompanied by various officers, by the Delhi police, and in fact IBO officials were said to be snooping. There was a lot of strange things that happened in CBI at that time. Are things at an ease? What are your sources saying inside now? Are things at an ease now that their independence has been, that their autonomy has been restored?
As far as the CBI officers are concerned, Sunetra, they are still not clear whether Mr. Alok Verma would be coming back and joining today as the CBI director, because now it's clear that the acting CBI director, Mr. Nageshwar Rao, has been divested of his power. So he's clearly been demoted as the additional director now, but the new, the old director, if I may say so, Mr. Alok Verma, would he be coming back, or would he be signing another, file saying that he's giving a joining report? So whenever CBI officers go on leave, they come and give a joining report. That's what I've been told. So whether Mr. Alok Verma would be coming back and giving a joining application that now he's the CBI director, this is a grey area. The CBI officers that I spoke to were also not very clear what would be the next course of action, whether he would be coming back and again signing as the CBI director, because he was sent on leave very unceremoniously. It was a midnight coup of sorts. In the government parlance, they were even equating it to the surgical strikes. They were saying it was a midnight coup when the government, took over, and they installed Mr. Nageshwar Rao as the acting CBI director. He then, transferred 6 officers. However, it is clear that those 6 officers, their transfers are not going to be withheld. They have to go and report to their new duty wherever they have been posted, because the Supreme Court has not spelled it out. Earlier in the hearing, they had also said that, to transfer a CBI officer from A place to B is not a reprimand. They have to go, whether it's Andamans, whether it's Jabalpur, or whether it's Nagpur. But the clear message has been sent out to the BJP that the decisions cannot be taken unanimously, and for the finance minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley, because it was him who came out in the open and he, specified that there were corruption charges against Mr. Alok Verma and Rakesh Asthana, and that is why the government had decided to send them on leave. Now the Supreme Court has restored Mr. Alok Verma. He can come, but he cannot take policy decisions. And the second point is Mr. Rakesh Asthana. His case is still pending in Delhi High Court. So clearly the investigations against him will continue. But what I have been made to understand that his arrest is not going to be imminent, because the case is still being heard by the Delhi High Court, and it would be up to Delhi High Court in which way the court steers the investigation as far as Mr. Rakesh Asthana is concerned. Sunetra?